The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain Longman Simplified English Series Read by Pongsakorn Jantet Chapter 10 Pirates Tom's mind was made up now. He was gloomy and depressed. He was a lonely, friendless boy. He thought when they found out what they had driven him to, perhaps they would be sorry. Nothing would please them but to get rid of him. Let it be so, and let them blame him for the result. Yes, they had forced him to it at last. He would lead a life of crime. There was no choice. By this time, he was far away from school, and the bell for lesson came faintly to his ear. The tears came into the eyes as he thought that he would never hear that old familiar sound again. Just at this point, he met his best friend, Joe Harper, who has evidently a great and wonderful purpose in his heart. Tom, weeping his eye with his sleeve, began to moan something about his determination to escape from lack of sympathy at home by wandering into the great world, never to return. He ended by hoping that Joe would not forget him, but it appeared that Joe has also made up his mind to run away from home. He had been searching from Tom to give him this important piece of information. His mother had wiped him for drinking some cream which he had not tasted and which he knew nothing about. It was plain that she was trying to him and with him to go. As the two boys walked sorrowing along, they swore to stand by each other and to be brothers till death relieved them of their troubles. Then they began to lay their plans. Joe wanted to be a holy man and live on bit of bread and a cave, and die at last of cold, want and grief. But after listening to Tom, he agreed that there were some outstanding advantages about a life of crime, and so he consented to be a pirate. 3 miles below St. Petersburg, at a point where the Mississippi River was about a mile wide, there was a long, narrow, wooded island with a shallow sandbar at the head of it. This island would be a suitable meeting place. It was not inhabited and lay far over toward the farther bank, facing a thick forest. So Jackson's Island was chosen. Then they searched for Huckleberry Finn, and he joined them directly, for all projections were the same to him. They arranged to meet at a lonely spot on the river bank 2 miles above the village as their favorite hour, midnight. There was a small log raft there which they intended to capture. Each would bring hooks and fishing lines and such food such he could steal in the dark and mysterious way of a true pirate. During the afternoon, they told everyone that soon the town would hear something stirring. All who got this vague news were warned to keep it a secret and wait. About midnight, Tom arrived with some meat and a few trifles, and stopped in the thick bushes on a steep slope overlooking the meeting place. He gave a low whistle. It was answered from the foot of the slope. Tom whistled twice more. These signals were answered in the same way. "Who goes there?" said a first voice. "Tom Sawyer, the Black Avenger of Spanish seas. Give me your names." "Huck Finn, the Red-Handed, and Joe Harper, the Terror of the Oceans." Tom has provided these titles from his favorite literature. "Give the password." Two whispers deliver the same awful words at the same time to the breathless night. Then Tom rolled his meat down the slope and let himself down after it, tearing both skin and cloth in the effort. There was an easy, comfortable path along the banks at the foot of the slope. But Tom knew that a real pirate prefers difficulty and danger to ease and comfort. The terror of the ocean has brought a big bag full of love and has tired himself out carrying it there. Finn, the Red-Handed, has stolen a frying pan and a quantity of tobacco. The Black Avenger of the Spanish seas said that they could not start without some fire. That was a wise thought, for matches were hardly known there in those days. They saw a fire upon a great drift 100 yards above, and they went and made an exciting adventure of it, saying "shh" every now and then, suddenly stopping with finger on lip, moving with hands on imaginary knife, and giving orders in fierce whispers. They knew that the raftsmen were all down at the village, but that did not matter. They had to steal the fire in a right piratical way. They put off presently, Tom in command, Huck at the after oar, and Joe at the forward. For with a gloomy face and folded arms, gave his orders in a low stern whisper. "Bring her to the Y." Aye, sir." "Steady, steady." "Steady it is, sir." "Which sail is she carrying?" "Mainsail, sir." "Send the topsails up. Lively now." Aye, sir." As the boys steadily and uneventfully drove the raft towards mid-river, it was no doubt understood that these orders were given only for style and were not intended to mean anything in particular. Hardly a word was said during the next 3/4 of an hour. Now the raft was passing the fierce glimmering lights of the distant village. The Black Avenger stood still with folded arms, taking a last look at the scenes of his former joys and later suffering. He wished that those whom he had lived forever could see him now, on the stormy seas, facing hardship and death with a conqueror's heart. The other pirates were taking a last look too. They looked so long that they nearly floated past the island. But they discovered the danger in time, and at about 2 o'clock at the morning, the raft stuck on the sandbar. They walked backward and forward through the shallow water until they had landed their supplies. They had found an old sail on the little raft, and this they spread over some bushes and as a tent to shelter their food. They themselves would sleep in the open air, in fine weather, as pirates could. They built a fire in the wood, cooked some meat in the firing pan, and had it for supper with some of their loaves. It seemed glorious fun to be fishing in that wide, free way, far from civilization. The fire lit up their faces and the tree trunk around. After supper, they stretched themselves out on the grass, feel the contentment. "Isn't it jolly?" said Joe. "It's grand," said Tom. "I don't want anything better than this," says Huckleberry. "I don't get enough to eat usually, and here people can't come and kick and worry me." Huckleberry filled this pie with tobacco, pressed a glowing coal to it, and blew out a cloud of sweet-smelling smoke. The other pirates envied him this impressed vice, and secretly determined to adopt it soon. "What do pirates do?" asked Huck. "Oh, they have a fine time," said Tom. "They take ships and burn them, and get the money and beauty in its awful places in their island, where there are ghosts to watch it, and kill everybody in this ship. And they wear the loveliest clothes, all gold and silver and diamonds," said Joe. "I don't think I am properly dressed for a pirate," said Huck, regarding his own clothes sadly. "But these are the only ones I've got." But the other boys told him that the fine clothes would come fast enough after they had begun their adventures. Gradually, their talk died out, and sleepiness began to steal upon the eyelids of the adventurers. The pie dropped from the fingers of the red-handed. The terror of the ocean and the black adventurers has more difficulty in getting to sleep. They sat their papers silently and lying down, since there was nobody there with authority to mark them kneel and say them aloud. As they were about to fall asleep, an unwelcome visitor crept up, and could not be driven away. It was conscience they began to feel a vague fear that it was science. They began to feel vague to feel that it was wrong to run away from home. Next, they thought of the stolen meat and bread. They tried to argue it away by demanding conscience that they had taken sweets and cakes and apples without permission dozens of times. But conscience would not accept such a thin argument. In the end, they were forced to admit that running off with cakes was only taking, while running off with meat and love of bread with plan. Simple Bible. So in their heart they resolved that as long as they were pious they would have nothing to do with the crime of stealing. Conscience was satisfied, and these odd pirates fell peacefully asleep.